These 7 pricing mistakes are costing photographers and videographers thousands of dollars every single month. I used to charge just $500 for a multi-day brand shoot. I worked below minimum wage because I was afraid clients wouldn't pay more. And after learning how to fix my pricing strategy, I went from barely surviving to making $50,000 in just 3 months. So let's break down these 7 critical pricing mistakes that are keeping you broke. Starting with the biggest one, undercharging for your work. This was the biggest mistake I made when I started my photo and video business. I was desperate for clients, terrified they'd say no, and convinced that nobody would pay my premium rates for someone like me. Here's a quick story. My first real brand shoot, I charged $500 for everything. It took me a couple days of shooting, another day or 2 of editing, and then a ton of back and forth with the client. When I broke down the math later, I was embarrassed at how low the hourly rate actually was, less than minimum wage. But honestly, back then, I was just happy to get paid for my work, even though it was completely unsustainable. The psychology here is pretty simple. We undercharge because we're afraid the client will say no, afraid we're not good enough, afraid that we'll be exposed as a fraud. I remember being on a Zoom call with a potential client, stumbling over my words, worried that if I said my real price, they'd laugh at me. So I cut my rate in half before I even said it. But what I didn't realize was I was sending a subtle signal about my own value. When you price yourself as a budget option, clients are going to treat you as one. They'll question your decisions, they'll micromanage your process, and expect endless revisions because, well, you're affordable. But here's what undercharging actually costs you: burnout, resentment towards clients, and a business model that is unsustainable, that is one bad month away from collapse. And the worst part, it attracts clients who shop on price, who are typically the most demanding and least appreciative of what you do. I had this one client early on, let's call him Mark. We started working together because I was affordable. For 3 months, he bombarded me with last-minute requests, scope changes, and rush deadlines. I was making so little that every request, it just grew my resentment towards him. And I started to dread actually seeing his name in my inbox. And that is no way to run a business that you love. So here's how you fix it. First, calculate your actual costs. I'm talking about all of your time, your gear, your software, your insurance, your taxes, everything. The number is always higher than you think. Second, research what top professionals in your niche charge, not just your buddy who's also undercharging, but the established pros who are making a real living. I was guessing what to charge when I started, and it wasn't until I took an online course where my mentor Zach told me his rates, and I realized I was charging 5 times less than what he was. Third, focus on the value you provide, not just your time. Clients aren't buying my 8 hours. They're buying photos that will help them sell more products, videos that will convert more customers, and creative work that builds their brand. I had a client who used my product photos for their e-commerce store, and their conversion rate actually increased by 8%. That was a real ROI, and it made it easy to land multiple projects with that client. The practical step here is increase your rates by at least 20% for your next 3 clients. Just do it. I promise you, they're not even going to flinch. And if they do, that's valuable market feedback. Because when I finally raised my rates, do you know what happened with my sales process? Nothing. My close rate stayed the same, and I just made more money for the same amount of work. Okay, now mistake number 2. This is charging per deliverable instead of creating value-based packages. So early on in my business, I priced everything individually. $50 a photo, $500 a video, $10 for each additional edit. And this seemed logical, right? Clients pay for exactly what they get. Wrong. This approach killed my profitability because it created the wrong client relationship. I had this one client, let's call him Mike, who needed product photos for his e-commerce store. I quoted him $100 per photo, and immediately he tried figuring out the lowest number of photos he could get. The relationship became focused on minimizing the deliverables rather than maximizing the results. He would say things like, let's get 2 products in one shot to save money. And after delivery, he would ask, can we crop this into 2 separate images so I don't have to pay for another? And I deserve this because I'd created a pricing structure that actually encouraged this. So how do you fix this? Well, first, shift to value-based packages. Instead of saying photos are $100 each, I created packages like the product launch package, which would include everything you would need to successfully launch your product online for just $2,000. And this immediately shifted the conversation from how few photos can I get away with to will this package actually give me everything I need? The first quarter after I implemented this pricing change, I made $50,000 in my photo and video business, and that was just in 3 months. In my packages, I started emphasizing what the client would achieve, not what they would receive. Things like drive more sales with scroll stopping product photos instead of get 20 product photos. So this positions you as a strategic partner rather than a commodity service provider. So ditch the per photo pricing or the per video pricing model and embrace value-based packages. Before we continue with mistake number 3, I want to invite you to join my free community for photographers and videographers called Creative Biz Builders. In there, we have a free step-by-step course on how to create these value-based packages, and we also dive deeper into topics like pricing, client acquisition, and building systems for your photo or video business. You'll be able to connect with other creatives who are on the same exact journey you are, facing the same challenges and discovering what actually works. The link is in the description below, and it's completely free to join. It's my way of giving back to the creative community that supported me for all these years. Now let's get back to the pricing mistakes. So mistake number 3 is having an inconsistent pricing strategy. Now this is embarrassing to admit, but I used to price based on how much I thought the client could afford to pay or how desperate I was for work. One month I'd charge $1,000 for a project, the other month $3,000, and they were essentially the same amount of work. And this creates 2 massive problems. First, it confuses and potentially angers clients if they ever talk to each other. Second, it makes you look very unprofessional and unprepared. So let me give you an example of how this backfired on me. I had a regular client who I'd been charging my friends and family rate because they were a friend of mine and they had just started their business. And when I finally raised their rate to match what I was charging everyone else, they were shocked and they felt betrayed, honestly. They said they were confused by the sudden price increase, but the truth was I'd been undercharging them for years out of a sense of obligation. And this relationship, it never recovered. And I learned that the inconsistent pricing, it doesn't just hurt your bottom line, it destroys trust. Even worse was my habit of discounting when clients hesitated on the sales call. I would tell them it'd be $5,000 for this package. They would pause and not say anything, and I'd immediately say, but I could do it for you for $4,000. And this trained clients to always negotiate with me, and it completely undermined my credibility. Why would anyone trust the value of a service that the photographer or videographer doesn't seem to believe in? Now, inconsistent pricing also makes it impossible to scale your business. You can't train a team if your pricing is based on your gut feeling for the day. You can't create systems if every project is a different rate. You end up reinventing the wheel with every single client, and this is exhausting and just inefficient. So how do you fix this? Well, first, you create tiered packages. I recommend 2 packages to start, 2 clear options at 2 different price points with clearly defined deliverables. So for my photo and video business, Pieta Productions, I created a basic package and a gold package. The basic package was $19.99 or $2,000, and the gold package was $499 or $5,000. Now each package had a specific number of products I would shoot, photos per product, videos, and usage rights. This simplified the buying process for clients, and it completely eliminated the what do you charge anxiety for me. Second, use value-based pricing instead of hourly rates. So package your services based on the results they deliver, not on the time they take. So I didn't sell 10 hours of photography work. I sold a complete product catalog that will increase your online sales, or a brand transformation package. Now this part was actually custom based on what the client's problems were, what they told me on that discovery call. So if on the discovery call they told me that their sales were low, well, I would name the package around increasing their sales. If their Instagram engagement was bad, well, I would name the package around that. And this allowed me to target their pain point and charge for value rather than time, which is an absolute game changer. But the thing is, the photos actually delivered that value. The name of the package just helped me sell it. And now third, don't forget about your pricing psychology. The way you present your pricing matters a lot. I format my proposals with the highest package first and then work down to the most affordable option. What this does, it anchors the client to that highest price point first, and then it makes the lowest package seem like a bargain. And it's also my most popular package by design. Now, the practical step here is to create 2 standard packages that you can offer to every single client. And even if you need to customize later, start with that standard foundation. Also, make your packages significantly different in price. I recommend at least a 2x jump between these tiers, and this creates a clear separation that allows for clients to kind of self-select based on their budget and needs. Okay, moving along here, mistake number 4 is copying competitors' prices blindly. So I see this so often when a new member joins Creative Biz Launch. They look up other photographers or videographers, see what they've charged, and they match it or go slightly lower to be competitive. And this is a recipe for disaster because you're racing to the bottom. Here's why. Your competitors' prices are often wrong for them, so they're definitely going to be wrong for your business as well. Your costs are different, your style is different, your expertise is different, your clients' results are different. So when I stopped trying to be the affordable option and started pricing based on the value I provided, I actually started attracting better clients who appreciated quality over price. And I had this breakthrough moment with a client when they came to me after working with like 2 or 3 other budget-friendly photographers. They said that they've wasted thousands of dollars on cheap photos that didn't sell their products, and they didn't really care what it cost. They just needed images that would convert. And that's when I realized that I was solving a completely different problem than my competitors, and I should be pricing accordingly. Think about it this way. If you're positioning yourself as the affordable option, you're always going to be compared on price. And is that the thing that you really want to be competing on? Because there are always going to be people that are willing to go cheaper. If someone's just getting started, well, they can just pitch a low price and always beat you out. So do not compete in price. Another major problem with copying competitors is that you don't know their business model. Maybe they charge less for the shoot because they make money on licensing. Maybe they have a volume-based approach that requires 30 clients a month, or maybe they have a trust fund and they don't need the money. Your business model and your life needs are unique to you. So how do we fix this? Identify your unique value proposition. What makes your work different or better? For me, it was truly understanding my clients' problems that helped me create these images that actually drove their sales. And these weren't just pretty looking photos, right? I started emphasizing this in all of my client communications. Product photos designed to increase conversion rates and build your brand. And what this did, it immediately differentiated me from other photographers who are just talking about beautiful photos. Second, price based on the results your clients get. If your photos help a product sell 30% more, well, that's worth way more than what the average photographer charges. So I started collecting case studies and testimonials that highlighted those specific results. Third, you do want to research market rates as a starting point, but always adjust based on the specific value that you bring. All right, mistake number 5 is not raising prices as you grow. So here's the problem. If your prices don't grow as you do, you'll hit a growth plateau. Your skills improve, your portfolio gets better, you deliver better results to clients, but your income, it stays flat. So let me tell you what happened to me after a year of running my photo and video business. My technical skills had improved dramatically. I had invested in better equipment, like 10 grand more in camera gear, lenses, lighting. I had developed a systematic pre-production process to get my clients better results. I had a proven track record with great testimonials, and I could complete the work in like half the time because now I had an editor to support me and I got faster. And the quality of my deliverables was also so much better than when I started. But my pricing, it still reflected the beginner that I no longer was. And the psychology here is interesting because we're afraid that raising prices will drive away clients. So we convince ourselves that clients only stay with us because of our pricing. They're loyal to us because we have that consistent pricing. But I found the opposite to be true occasionally as well. When I finally raised my rates with proper client communication, my clients respected me more. And some even said, I was wondering when you'd catch up to the value that you're delivering. So that was really interesting to hear. Not raising your prices also attracts the wrong clients over time because as you improve, you should be working with clients who value quality and the results over bargain hunting, right? So if you keep your prices super low, you'll be attracting price-sensitive clients even as your work becomes premium. So how do we fix this? Well, first, set a calendar reminder for every 3 months to review your price. So every quarter, evaluate your rates and see if they match your growth. Second, communicate increases by highlighting the added value. So you can tell your clients, my rates have increased because I've added X to my process that delivers Y result. Third, grandfather your loyal clients for a limited time. So I typically give existing clients a 6-month notice before increasing prices on them. And this rewards loyalty because it still ensures that everyone eventually moves to your current rates, but it gives your current clients some extra time at those lower rates. You can say something like, because you've been such a valuable client, I want to let you know that my rates for new clients have increased to X dollars, but I'm extending your current rate for the next 6 months. All right, moving on to mistake number 6. Mistake number 6 is poor discounting practices. So early in my business, I'd panic whenever a potential client hesitated on my price. I would say things like, I can give you a 20% discount, and that became my default response. Or worse, I would say, what's your budget? And then I would adjust my price down to whatever they said. And this trains clients to always negotiate with you. It signals that your prices aren't real and you're not tied to actual value. And it creates this weird dynamic where your best clients, the ones that respect your rates, they end up paying more than those who complain. Now, random discounting also messes with your mindset. So like each time you slash your prices, you reinforce this belief that your work isn't actually worth what you're charging. It's like this form of self-sabotage that really erodes your confidence over time. Even worse is the self-sabotaging behavior, like negotiating against yourself. If a client says that seems too high and you immediately offer a lower price without them even asking for it, well, this is a recipe for disaster. And I did this constantly, and it cost me tens of thousands of dollars over the years. Now, most of the time, the client was just processing the information and not actually objecting, but in the moment, I panicked. Now, in order to fix this, the first thing to do is to add value instead of discounting. So if a client can't afford your standard package or they say it's too expensive, instead of discounting your rate, try adding in deliverables to that package so they get more bang for their buck, or offer bonuses that cost you very little but has a high perceived value for a client. So when a client would say that my rate is too high, I could say something like, I understand that there are budget constraints. Would it help if we increase the number of final images from 10 to 15? So this is nice because I can still get paid whatever my package is worth. This would actually maintain my price point while adding a little bit of work on my end and still getting paid what I want to get paid. Another approach I found effective is offering some high value bonus instead of discount. So you can say something like, I can't adjust my day rate, but I'd be happy to include a 1-hour brand consultation where we plan out your next 3 months of content. So this consultation, it would cost you nothing. It would cost you like an hour of your time, but delivers massive value to the client. Okay, last one here. Mistake number 7 is not clearly defining what's included. And this one nearly broke me. I had a client who kept asking for just one more edit, or could you try this one more thing, for weeks, right? And the project that should have taken like 10 hours took 20 or 30 plus with no additional pay. And I ended up resenting the client and the work suffered here. And this is something that's called scope creep, and it's a profit killer because when you don't clearly define what's included, clients will naturally push for more. They're going to try to get the best value because you haven't set boundaries. So how do we fix this? Well, first, we create a detailed contract with deliverables that explicitly state up to 20 edited images instead of saying edited images, right? We say how many are actually included. Your proposal can also specify the number for everything. X products, X angles per product, X final edited images, X minutes of videos, X scenes, right, etc. When a client asks for something that's outside of the scope, you simply refer back to the proposal and what you stated in the contract. The second thing you could do here is to set clear revision limits. So my standard is 2 rounds of revisions, and I make that very clear. A revision round means the client can request adjustments to the already edited photos. So after 2 rounds, additional edits would have a fee. And this encourages clients to be really decisive with what they want changed because they know they're not going to have 10 opportunities to go back and forth with you. So it's going to be easier on both of your ends here. So these 7 pricing mistakes are costing photographers and videographers literally thousands of dollars every year. So 1, stop undercharging for your work. 2, build packages. 3, create a consistent pricing strategy. 4, don't just blindly copy other people's prices. 5, raise your prices as you grow. 6, avoid poor discounting practices. And 7, avoid scope creep by clearly defining your terms. If you want any more help with this, join our free Creative Biz Builders community down below. That's where you can get my complete pricing masterclass. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.